Good morning.
Good morning.
Come on, y'all can do better than that. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a wonderful and exciting day, so we celebrate. It is my opportunity to offer the invocation, and when I use the name of God, I want you to know that I include everybody in this room of different faiths, even if you don't have a God. And if you don't have a God, see me later. I can work that out. Just a joke. Just bow with me in a word of prayer. Dear God, we stand on the brink of extraordinary possibility, a chance to celebrate, laugh, dance, and clap our hands. We give thanks for this union between Alma and these graduating students, midwifed through Sophronia Scott, assisted by administration, faculty, and fellow students with family and friends in the waiting room. We give thanks that these soon-to-be-named MFA graduates are born after coming through the labor and birth pain of tears, uncertainty, at some points outright despair. And behold, the world, creation, and stars to rejoice that these are born to care for the public good, birth for compassion and justice, conceive for mercy, truth, and hope. We bask in joy at this service to announce, as the poet said, the morning of this new dawning. Amen. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you, Frank. Good morning. Welcome to the Alma College degree ceremony honoring the class of 2023 recipients of the degree of Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing. I am Sophronia Scott, director of the program. On behalf of the Alma College administration, our trustees, our faculty, our families, and our many friends in the Alma community, it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you here today to celebrate the graduates of Alma College's first graduate program in its 137-year history. It is an historic moment indeed. What you will witness in this ceremony today is student-created, adding their own touches to the traditions of Alma College to mark their love for and commitment to the program. For their family and friends, here is the answer to the mystery of their disappearances every 6 months for the past 2 years. They have been coming to residency to write, to learn, and to experience what it means to read, think, and live as an artist. They returned home after each residency and put that learning into practice, writing regularly, reading deeply, and submitting packets of work to their mentors every month. You have supported them lovingly, steadfastly in this marvelous endeavor. As a result, and as you'll hear during this ceremony, they have produced beautiful and powerful words. And we, the faculty, their mentors, can't be more excited to see and read what they do next. Now I invite Dr. Sean Burke, Alma College Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, to say a few words.
Greetings, graduates, friends, family, colleagues on the faculty and staff of Alma College. It is a joy to be with you today. This is my very first function like this at Alma College. And I want to begin by taking a moment to recognize Dr. Scott. I have only been in this role for 3 weeks, but I have heard from so many people here at Alma College about the tireless work that Dr. Scott has done to get this first graduate program for Alma College up and running. So perhaps you could all take a moment and join me in thanking Dr. Scott. Alma College was founded in 1886 and up until now has awarded undergraduate degrees to many students over those decades. It is a joy now to be awarding graduate degrees to you who really are the pioneers of graduate education at Alma College. Alma College is committed to the power and importance of the liberal arts. And so it makes total sense to me that our first graduate program would be an MFA in creative writing. This is a place where we believe in the power of language and in the importance of reflecting deeply on what it is to be human. So thank you for being our pioneers, and congratulations to each and every one of you.
I now invite members of the class of 2023 for their class presentations.
Good morning. During this past winter residency in Roscommon, Michigan, we 6 graduates pondered what kind of gift to leave to the school. As we sat together in the fireplace and dining rooms, surrounded by photographs with landscapes of woods, lighthouses, and freight trains near the Great Lakes, and nature scenes with fox, deer, insects, the least weasel, also known as little weasel, common weasel, or simply weasel, and endangered plants. We were inspired to gift a piece of framed art. This reminded us of our art outing during last summer's residency at the Alma Community Arts Center. We decided we would commission a local artist. We thought of local artist and Alma College alumna Tina Vivian. We offered Tina a few ideas to incorporate into the piece, including a quotation engraved in a bench in the hallway near the genre workshop rooms in Roscommon. Titled Hymn of Praise, pine cones and thistles, important motifs of Alma College and its Scottish heritage, surround the outstretched hands of the students who have joined together here to begin their journey as degree-holding writers. They hold up the words, "What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others," by Pericles, a supporter of art and literature from ancient Greece that aptly describes our feelings about this place. The quill pen, a symbol used to describe writing courses at the college, underscores the specific virtue of the word as a means of communication. The piece is bordered with Alma College's signature tartan. This artwork was created using hand-dyed fabric, printed elements, raw-edged applique, fabric pens, markers, pencils, and decorative top stitching. Woven into it are the sincere sentiments of the maker, Tina Vivian. Due to the vibrant MFA in creative writing program at Alma College, voices and stories are not endangered. Dr. Burke, please accept this gift from the inaugural class of the MFA in creative writing program.
Sophronia, can you step down here a minute, please?
This around so you guys can see what they're looking at. Yes.
What a privilege this is to honor you.
Oh, okay.
You took President Abernathy's dreams of an MFA program into your particular vision, that it would be a nurturing environment, that this program would be a healthy, encouraging place for writers to grow and learn to be in community with each other. And the faculty you invited into this vision supported your thinking and all in, invested themselves in your vision and in us as students. We have all grown, we are still growing. Beauty begets beauty, love begets love. Thank you for trusting your vision. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for your courage. Please accept this gift so generously dreamed up and created by Tina Vivian. None of our words would be on this quilt without the nurturing of this inaugural faculty. The gift would be incomplete without their words being on there too, with ours. Sophronia, thank you. With much love and gratitude from your inaugural graduating class.
Okay, no fear, you're not supposed to make me cry. Thank you. I want to see it, I want to see it. Because you guys, it's absolutely beautiful. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I got to follow that. A unique thing about being the inaugural class of a new program is that we've been tasked with starting new traditions. And this is tricky because traditions are usually instituted unintentionally, organically, and over generations. And we only have about 45 minutes. So we needed to decide what we would pass along to the class to come behind us, the class of winter 2024. We decided we needed a bottle because we're writers, and when you begin with a bottle, you usually end up with a story. Now we needed to put something in the bottle, something that would be useful to the next group of MFA candidates. I know what you guys are thinking. Cash would be nice. But sadly, while our gowns do have these things, they do not have pockets. So instead, we, the class of 2023, have decided to gift our successors with messages in a bottle. That doesn't seem quite right, guys. We're writers after all. We've been spending 2 years learning how to avoid cliche. So we can do better than messages in a bottle, right? We're leaving you with a canteen of consultation. That's not better. We, the class of 2023, hope you enjoyed this jug of suggestions. Here's what's going to happen. Each of us have thoughtfully written a note to be dropped into the farewell flask. These notes might pertain to lessons that we have learned in our time here at Alma, or words of encouragement as you round that last bend in the track and set your sights on your final sports metaphor. Or they might be dark warnings from the world beyond term 3. But whatever messages we insert into the beaker of reassurance, know that they have been penned in sincerity, in reflection, and in hopes that you stand before the next class with as much pride as we do. I'm honored to begin the inpouring and drop the first message into this decanter of incantations. To be a writer, all that you really need is your own permission.
It doesn't always have to be so serious. Write something fun once in a while. Be weird. See what happens.
Lose your card on the way up and then have Kelsey find it. Right here. Dear writer friends, have patience with everything that remains unsolved in your heart. Try to love the questions themselves. From Rilke.
Return to the river, dwell in the cosmos, and retain your sense of wonder.
Here at Alma College, you have found your lane. In a special community, honor yourself and your gift. Make space for the energy to guide you. Invite the natural rhythm of life to come in, to guide you, and you will discover a force far greater than your own and the power of your words. Create your visions. You are a writer.
Oprah Winfrey and our Trisha James Heard.
Don't forget to look up at the sky before the day is done. And when words don't come, go easy on yourself and take a nap.
We don't have to throw this bottle into the surf. It won't be carried by any fickle tide. We know where we want it to go. I have the great honor of passing this tradition on to a representative of the next graduating class, a writer that I've been privileged to know over the last 2 years. The new keeper of the carafe, the supervisor of the vase, the overprotective uncle of the urn is Mr. Joseph Meyer. Will you please come up? Joey, upon your graduation, you and your classmates will add to this collection of anecdotes, advice, and encouragement. And until then, keep it safe. Thank you.
I was asked to prepare a poem for our graduating class. We all took a chance, dove headfirst, or chipmunked. That was for you, Matthew. Into a program that none of us knew would succeed or continue after we left it. They called us trailblazers, those who trudged on to lead the pack. But maybe you don't see that we all have stumbled, struggled, wanted to quit. Do not look at us on a pedestal, but as the mortals that we are. Heartaches and hardships, death and destruction. Oh, to have the life of a writer. But what we have found here is special. Let us not discount that. A camaraderie that spans and forgoes decades, but none of us bat an eyelash at it. This is our community, our surrogate family, our home away from home. Thank you.
In December of last year, an author named Chelsea Banning spent a lonely evening in a local bookstore. Nearly 40 people had responded going to her book signing event, which corresponded with the release of her debut novel, a fantasy story called Of Crowns and Legends. The next day, disappointed and a little embarrassed, she tweeted that only 2 people showed up. Imagine what she felt when she reopened the post, intending to delete it, only to find that Neil Gaiman had commented, Terry Pratchett and I did a signing in Manhattan for Good Omens that nobody came to at all, so you are two up on us. Similar anecdotes followed from other authors, including Jodi Picoult, Robin Hobb, Min Jin Lee, and Margaret Atwood. I love that this emerging author suddenly and unexpectedly found herself in community with established authors who took the time to encourage her because they knew how she felt. She took a risk in writing her book and in its publication. She took a risk in scheduling and publicizing her event. She took a risk in sharing the low turnout. It's one thing when people celebrate our victories with us. It's quite another when they show up in our times of sorrow. We cannot overemphasize the value of encouragement from one who actually knows what we are going through. When we take a risk, however calculated, we never know what the outcome will be. We students took a risk on this program. Sophronia took a risk on this new community. The faculty took a risk on this program, on Sophronia, and on us. We've all taken a risk here on ourselves. My earliest understanding of the concept of risk was in the form of a board game in which the players alternate between two actions, invading and being invaded. My siblings and I enjoyed capturing each other's territories and deciding to what extent we would trust a desired outcome to a roll of dice. There was something satisfying about the sound of dice hitting the game board and the thrill of moving our tiny game pieces across an ocean to a new place. I ask you to bear with me as I use the game of Risk and its primitive concept in a metaphor that's a little bit gross. You all in the Alma MFA community have invaded my space, and I hope that I have invaded yours in the loveliest of ways. I hope we remain in each other's spaces where we'll forget all about rolling dice because we'll be too busy chattering as if no time at all has passed since we last saw each other. If you are a family member or friend here today in support of us and our efforts, thank you. We appreciate the many ways you actively love us. Please know that the relationships we have formed here at Alma do not diminish our affection for and gratitude to you. Thank you for the daily risks you take on us. When I rolled the dice on this program, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Ray Bradbury said, "You've got to jump off the cliff all the time and build your wings on the way down." We stand today on a summit, perhaps a little bruised and better for it, having turned our free fall into a glide and landed upon a commencement, a new beginning. From here, we look back at the journey we've completed and ahead at the journeys we will yet make. Hence, we can choose from two actions: keep looking or jump again. And so, classmates and faculty, Sophronia Scott and Chelsea Banning out there, I say thank you for jumping.
It's a privilege to be here with all of you today. You each contribute to building this community together. And so it gives me a lot of pleasure to have the distinct honor of introducing our commencement speaker, Matthew Dickman. His many awards include things such as the Guggenheim and American Poetry Review's first book prize, the Honickman. But Matthew focuses on the work, the page, the language, which is what we are here celebrating. Because all of our graduates trusted us with their words. So therefore, maybe the best introduction for Matthew Dickman is his poetry, whose subjects are difficult And as Cesla Milos, in a poem about poetry, says that the art of poetry reminds us how difficult it is to remain just one person. And so it gives me a lot of pleasure to be able to introduce the one and only Matthew Dickman. Please help me in welcoming him to the stage.
Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me? Awesome. I want to say that I'm very honored to be speaking in front of you today. So, friends, family, Alma faculty, administration, students, graduates. Let me begin by congratulating you all on this June day of your accomplishment. I address you. I keep looking, they're not graduating, you're graduating. Whole thing. It should be noted that this is not your first accomplishment, or even your 1085th accomplishment. But you do hold the rather special and significant position of being the first graduating class of Alma's MFA program. You are the bright and steady rock upon which this program is being built. So again, congratulations. I am also fully aware, as is everyone standing witness to this special moment, that this is not a commencement of an undergraduate class. It's not even a commencement of an MFA class whose body is made up of people who are necessarily very recent undergraduates. It's something altogether different, this low-res MFA. This program is made up of adults from every kind of background, made up of parents like me, of people with jobs and lives, where others depend on you. The reason a recent undergraduate might enter an MFA program will be often wildly different than someone in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. To have lived a life for years, and then to choose to return to school, to art, to carve out the time, to almost will it out of nothing, for art, for writing, to not only carve out the time, but to dig into one's own pocket to do so is not the actions of a starry-eyed dreamer in your average MFA program, but a serious, well-thought-out act of a full-blown adult, a mature act often supported by one's wife, husband, partner, children, and friends. To be away from family and friends, both twice a year at residency and at home, working on your craft, fulfilling your packets, corresponding with mentors, is, in my opinion, an artist's choice, not a student's choice. For me to stand here and offer you aphorisms about an imagined future in your chosen field or read the lyrics of some anthemic feel-good song would be to treat you as students. But I do not think you are simply students. I am a stranger here, visiting on what could be described as a family celebration, your own as well as the family you have created here at Alma College. I am a stranger, yet I know from the brief time with you that you are artists, you are fellow writers. So I'm not here to offer you some piece of wisdom you already have, but I am here to celebrate you. And I would like to try to give you some encouragement, a little pep talk, and perhaps some unasked for advice from the after, which is to say, from life beyond the MFA. Let's start with the unasked for advice. And since this is a commencement speech, and from everything I watched on YouTube when I Googled great commencement speeches, I'm told I should first share with you one of my favorite allegorical stories. So here is one from the Brothers Grimm, a story I both like and dislike. Once upon a time, in a deep dark wood, lived a mouse, a bird, and a sausage. They were the best of roommates and had lived happily together for some years. Every day was the same, each leaning into their own natural talents. After getting up in the morning and having a bit of porridge, the mouse, the bird, and the sausage would begin their daily routine. The bird would head out to the forest to collect twigs to keep the home fire burning and her roommates warm all night. The mouse would make the bed, sweep the floor, and then take a little mid-afternoon nap. The sausage would make a great pot of soup on the hearth. The sausage was a talented chef as well as a keen swimmer. If the soup was in need of more flavor, the sausage would dive in and swim a couple laps, seasoning the soup as he swam. One day, while the bird was out collecting twigs, she heard a crow up in some branches laughing. "What's so funny?" the bird asked. "You are," replied the crow. "No, I'm not," said the bird. "Yes, you are," said the crow. "You're a sucker. Every day you risk life and limb out here in the dark forest collecting twigs, while at home your pals are warm and safe. You're being hustled," said the crow. "You're a sucker," and he went on laughing. The bird looked up at him and said something like, "Eat worms. You don't know what you're talking about." But on the way home, the bird couldn't get the crow's words out of her mind. And by dinner, she was so angry she couldn't eat any of the soup the sausage had made. "What's up with you?" asked the mouse. "You're what's up with me," the bird yelled. "You two have been taking advantage of me for too long, and starting tomorrow, we are switching jobs. Sausage, you're going to go collect twigs. Mouse, you're going to make the soup. And as for me, I'm going to make the beds and nap all day." And at that, the bird stormed off to bed. In the morning, the three friends began their new lives. After breakfast, the sausage went out to collect twigs, the mouse began to make the soup, while the bird made the beds, swept the floor, and nestled down for a nap. About an hour into the sausage's adventure collecting twigs, a wolf appeared on the path. "What are you doing?" asked the wolf. "Collecting twigs," said the sausage. "That's cool," said the wolf, and then the wolf ate the sausage whole. Back home, the bird woke up to the smell of the so-so soup Mouse was making. "Where's Sausage?" asked the bird. "Don't know," said Mouse. "He should have been home by now." A little worried, Bird went out into the forest to find her friend. She looked everywhere, then spotting a wolf, asked if he had seen a sausage. "Yes," the wolf said brightly. "Where is he?" asked the bird. "I ate him," said the wolf. The bird, horrified, turned tail and flew home. Meanwhile, the mouse decided the soup needed more seasoning, and remembering how Sausage would take a swim in the soup to flavor it, dived into the pot. But the soup being quite hot by now, and the mouse being a lousy swimmer, it drowned, its dead body floating between a piece of carrot and a piece of potato. When the bird came flying into the kitchen, yelling that Sausage had been eaten, she saw Mouse's lifeless body floating in the pot and absolutely lost her mind, flapping her wings wildly, which kicked up some coals in the fireplace, some sparks of which landing on the rug, the window drapes, causing a huge fire, and the bird, unable to find its way out through the smoke, burned to death. The end. It's a sweet little story. What I like about this story is that there's a sausage in it. and that sausage can make soup and is a pretty good swimmer. I love that. What I don't like about the story is the not-so-hidden message, that we should all stay in our own lanes, that we should do what we have been naturally disposed to do, or told to do, or implied that we are good at, and that if we try something new, it will not end well. In fact, we may die. Many of you have already said no to this false allegory in your own lives by simply being here. But my advice to you is this: to continue to live as much as possible outside the box society or family or even you have built for yourselves. To even ignore the particular genre you've devoted this part of your life to, and to simply write. Write whatever you feel. To not feel beholden to any one understanding of who you are as a writer, an artist, a creative person. My advice, as silly as it sounds, is to not think of yourself as a sausage, a bird, or a mouse, a poet, a fiction writer, a nonfiction writer, but to think of yourselves as all things. Belief in yourself as a writer will come and go your whole life. One day, you will feel like Uncle Walt, that you contain multitudes, and the next, you will feel as empty as a bowl on a shelf. The answer to both of these feelings is to simply write, to sit down and make the work you make that day, no matter the genre, no matter the story, no matter what. Now that sounds almost peppy. So here's my pep talk in a nutshell. A pep talk a mentor gave me when I graduated from my own MFA program. She said, "Matthew, just know this, that the world will be fine if you never, ever write anything again the rest of your life. But it will be a much more interesting world, a much more interesting life if you do." As strange as it might sound, I found her comment to be such a gift, a release from the imagined pressure I had built up for myself, that the degree I was receiving was somehow a promise to the world and I needed to fulfill it, because it isn't. It is the symbol of hard work, the symbol of time spent, of an experience had, but it is not a promise to break or make. I think there's a freedom in knowing it's okay to write or not write, a freedom you deserve after all of your hard work. For my part, I hope you do continue to write. In fact, unlike my mentor, I'm begging you to write. I hope you write and publish a bunch of books, an act that can feel much more possible when you are surrounded by a community like you are today, when you are shoulder to shoulder with those that support you. But the thing, what this whole day is about, is this. You are leaving one experience full of encouragement, sustenance, mentoring, understanding, and you are commencing to enter the afterworld of the sometimes fairy tale that an MFA can feel like. At times, it'll be a little lonely. Life is about to swell back up like a creeper wave, full of work deadlines, children to wrangle, loads of laundry to wash, beds and soup to make, jobs to be at, heating bills to pay. All the things you have been doing, but now without this place to add balance and light. I believe you can do it, partly because I'm a hopeful person, and partly because I ended up doing it myself. It was not easy. It was not about talent or luck or anything like that. It was about sitting down and writing. It's about leaving one place that protected the act of creation for you and learning quickly to protect it on your own, which you can do. Most of you will continue to write, to add to the great song, as some very romantic poets say. And some of you will publish, and these things will both change and not change your life. But I'll tell you something you already know, that no book, no poem in the New Yorker, no agent looking over a short story collection has ever prevented illness, layoffs, divorce, accidents, global warming, wars, or anything else that threatens human happiness. I say this because I believe that part of the longevity for an artist and their craft is a healthy sense of perspective. Still, the creative act has changed the people who engage in it, either by the making or experiencing of it. And so it also has the power to change, if ever so slightly, the people they interact with. This is something you have been cultivating here at Alma College, and it's a powerful thing to have done. Perhaps that's a lukewarm pep talk, but I'm the kind of writer who can't seem to write an ode or love poem without a bit of a funeral written in. So let me try a little encouragement. I encourage you to be proud of this accomplishment of yours when you go back home, even if back home some people may have no idea what an MFA is or even what an Alma College is. I encourage you to be fierce in the pledges you've made to your classmates you are leaving behind to keep in touch. These bonds can save your emotional life, which is to say, your creative life. I encourage you to forget any hard or fast rules about writing you've learned here and to choose heart over ideas. I encourage you not to think of your thesis as a first book, but as a path you have taken to write your first of many books. I encourage you to place the same amount of value in the idea of inspiration as you might in a very long line at the DMV. I encourage you to find success in the making of your art and not in the thing made. I encourage you to find joy in the making. I encourage you to keep writing. And I want to say that I am encouraged, deeply encouraged by the very fact of you, that in this world which seems to ebb and flow in cruelties, there are people like you, writers, artists. It's not just because we're in a chapel today that you remind me a little of early Christians, huddled together in an upstairs room, keeping the candle lit, reciting new prayers, while the Romans marched through the streets, flipping over carts, terrorizing the neighborhood. And with our country's newfound throwback fascination with book banning by the right, and some recent wild nights of self-righteous book burning by the left, I don't think the analogy is too far off. We are strange, we humans. We are the dominant animal on earth, an animal that, by the way, doesn't think it's an animal. We see meaning where there isn't any, which is both magical and troublemaking. We have transformed evolution from tailbones into smartphones. We are the only animals who have consciously tried over and over to end our own species. But we are also the only animals that tell stories the way we do. And that is strange and wonderful. And not only do we tell these stories, but an even smaller group of us write those stories down in prose, poetry, and song. That's who we are, a subset of the human animal, writers, strange and wonderful among our kind. And perhaps to remember that is all the encouragement any of us truly need. This MFA degree, this experience you've had at Alma College, was never the beginning of your writing life, and it won't be the end. There's a whole life of writing in the after, and I'm glad that you're coming to join me there. The title of this commencement speech is a note of encouragement from the after. But I'm just realizing that the title is all wrong. Not a lie exactly, but certainly a false start. Because as I stand here, thinking of the 6 of you, imagining all that you have written and all that you will write, as I dream of your stories and how you might tell them, how varied and far-reaching they are and will be, as I think of the poems I will read of yours and how they will lift me out of a sadness, how a stanza from something you will write will make me tear up or shake my head and say out loud, "Damn, that's good." I know this is not a note of encouragement from the after, not really, but rather a note of thanks from the future, from me, your future reader, and a note of thanks on behalf of my children, your future readers, and on and on. Thank you. Thank you for all you have given up to write, to be here. Thank you. Thank you for all you have sacrificed. Thank you for all your hard work, for every book you've ever read, each first draft. Thank you. Thank you for your creativity, your hearts. Thank you for all you've poured into the programs, for all you've poured into your lives, that just a little of that might one day pour into mine, your devoted reader. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All of us gathered here to honor your achievement. We thank you.
It is time for the presentation of the diplomas. We will present by genre, and I think the students may have forgotten to mention that from here on out, along with their diplomas, they will get a print of this lovely piece of art. And this is all graduates, not just today. Everyone will be receiving this. So we will present by genre. We will announce the student's name. You will hear an excerpt from their creative writing thesis read by the faculty that they have chosen to do so. And then the student will come up to receive their degree and their print. The first will be the genre of creative nonfiction, read by Dr. Robert Vivian. Marie Michelle Gherkin.
From Mayflies, a memoir. It surprised me to find a home in the November whispers of a sloping southwestern Michigan farm. As I rounded the bend to the forest, the sun was at my back. The trees shaded me in the field. Something moved. I turned toward the scraggly growth on the edge of the woods. Just above my head drifted a monarch butterfly, grand in size and with rich pigment. He circled me a few times before landing on a branch tipped with red-berried pyramidal clusters of the staghorn sumac. The seed pod of a wild milkweed was bursting open, the snow-white floss on the verge of flying too. Both did not seem lost. Perhaps the monarch, the last to migrate to Mexico, could not get enough of this open land either. Maybe he waited out the light autumn warmth to assure all others who pass through here that they are not alone. As if to say, we have gathered the farmer, the only daughter, the last monarch, the one who travels this captivating swell of soybeans to preserve the sacredness of solitude and remember the joy of deep love. I miss you, dear brother. With love from your sister, Marie Gherkin.
Congratulations. Artricia James Hurd.
One of Daddy's remarkable traits was his impeccable sense of fashion. No matter how small or seemingly insignificant the occasion, he always dressed with meticulous care. He took great pride in his appearance and was known to offer fashion advice to my brothers and other male relatives, sharing his knowledge and insider tips where to find excellent quality garments that stood the test of time. Whether it was a Sunday church service or a special event that beckoned to dress up, he donned tailored black, navy blue, steel gray, or autumn brown suits that exuded timeless elegance. Some of his suits had weathered the years, yet they continued to radiate a sense of style that seamlessly blended with the latest trends. A habit of his was to drop his suits off at the dry cleaners every Saturday on his way to work to extend their lifespan and to be ready for any occasion. Daddy's presence was felt everywhere he went. He commanded respect effortlessly and received it willingly. I often found myself marveling at the artistry with which Daddy expressed his personal fragrance. His cologne choices were not arbitrary. They spoke volumes about his destination and the significance of the occasion. Ralph Lauren Polo, my favorite, accompanied him to work, its masculine notes mingling with his confident stride. For weekends and special events, he favored the sophistication of Armani's for men and the alluring charm of Azzaro pour Homme. The distinct fragrances lingered in the air, leaving an indelible mark on my memories and serving as a subtle guide to his whereabouts. Daddy's commitment to personal care was an inspiration to us all. With meticulous attention, he shaved away his whiskers using a butter knife, a method he believed left his rich, dark, southern sun-kissed skin impeccably smooth. His dedication to this ritual, even in the face of physical challenges beset from earlier days working at the local Wyman and Gordon steel mill, spoke volumes about his commitment to presenting his best self to the world. Artricia James Hurd.
Got it? Congratulations. Our next reader for fiction and poetry will be Jim Daniels. Joy Marie Bilby.
From the Steve letters. Dear Steve, I'm writing to you from my bed. The moon shines through the skylight, casting me and my sleeping husband in a rectangular spotlight. I can't sleep even though I'm exhausted. The moonlight illuminates the film of dust on the plasma screen. A tumbler of water at my elbow casts a silo-sized shadow across the bed and floor. I've heard lots of advice. Speak only life-giving words, then you'll heal. You'll try to do too much. Stop canceling plans, you should get out more. You didn't have a stroke, are you sure it wasn't just a seizure? Try juicing, do yoga. I read a quote of yours. Before you criticize a man, walk a mile in his shoes. That way, when you do criticize him, you'll be a mile away and have his shoes. I smiled for the first time in days. Have you always been funny? Did you have comedic alchemy the first time you met, say, Gilda Radner? Did you speak to one another in character voices? Did your legs and arms tingle with the foreknowledge that you would someday dance a beautifully funny dance parody together? Were you laughing already? Perhaps you met on a street corner. I wonder if it was raining. I imagine you held red umbrellas. I imagine you stood beneath a billboard hawking 2-for-1 hamburgers. Behind the monstrous burgers are strawberry shakes and frosty glasses with the metal cup, weeping condensation on the side. I wonder if she knew she was dying as the city birds sought refuge under the eaves. Joy Bilby.
Kenton W. Smalley.
From Country Matricide, a novel. As the flames climbed the walls inside and curled the old wallpaper, the ceilings turned black and the floorboards popped like gunshots, she watched. There was little color to be sure, but she knew what had started it. As she watched the old Putman house slowly become a frantic beacon, a roaring and snapping bloom on the dark map of Penny, she felt a strange sense of ownership. It was hard to walk away. After all, what good is a house with no one inside? For the moment, it was loud and beautiful, and the house pushed heat out of its eyes and mouth like an impossible beast. Its breath was not unpleasant. She stood and watched until distant sirens interrupted her thoughts and warned her off. It was the largest fire she had ever set, albeit by accident. She thought she should be frightened, but she wasn't. There was nothing scary about a fire, and no one lived in the old house. No one loved it. Still, as she skirted the flaming building and made her way into the dark streets beyond, she couldn't help thinking that she heard a voice within. It did not scream, and the words it said were too jumbled to make out. But to Jessie, every sound that came from that burning house sounded like a question. Kenny Smalley.
Congratulations. For poetry, Mary Susan Peterson.
From Nightstand, River Guides. The moon is an ant with the porch light on. I tell her the stories of my waiting, how nightly prayers, like tea leaves, have lost their potency, and yet I drink anyway. Pine Tree is a storyteller of bend and sway. I stand near. What keeps her needles from shedding, her shoulders from hunching? Her spine an arrow, its feather, her branches. Headwaters allure to gather my questions like so many river rocks. I need a bucket, large, with solid wooden handles. Mary Peterson.
Congratulations. Kelsey Rose Weiss.
From The Milkman's Kid, Letter to Little Me. Don't cry, little girl. One day you won't see yourself as a sausage in a casing. You will stop comparing yourself to the 40-pound girls at recess. You grew vertically, but some people only notice the horizontal. No one wants to be shopping in women's clothing sizes at Old Navy when the other girls in the class can still fit into sizes at Justice. Even being a three-sport athlete, people cared about the numbers on the scale, did not see that you were a foot taller than nearly everyone out on the field. This included your own mother. You will see pictures and see how slim you really were. Elsie Weiss.
Congratulations. Let's have another round of applause for all of our graduating students. Now we will hear Loch Lomond, the song traditionally sung at Alma College commencement ceremonies. It will be sung by Will Nichols, conductor of the Alma College choirs.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, President Abernathy, and the faculty and staff of Alma College, thank you for your gift to the college. Thank you for the gifts that you have been and will be for the college. And congratulations to each of you. As you go forth, continue to grow as artists and as deep thinkers who think critically, who lead purposefully, who serve generously, and who live responsibly. Congratulations.
And my classmates now graduated. These final words of benediction are these, very simple. Get up, get out, and get on with it. Amen.